Okay, next
Okay.
question. How do you use diagnostic tools to assess, identify, and support instructional improvement?
Well, we have a universal screener. We use the STAR assessments for our universal screener. So we do STAR reading and math and early literacy in order to get a baseline of information on all of our students and to recognize if we have a student who seems to be having struggles, and then we can go into further, assessments for that. We also have progress monitoring tools. I know at different grade levels they look a little different, but we have a benchmark assessment that we use for reading in grades K through 4. And but most of all, our teachers use the STAR as just like I said, a kind of a baseline to give them an indicator of where their student falls. And then we use multiple assessments from the classroom formative assessment and then summative as well, to kind of just see where our students are and see what their needs are. So we pretty much, it is a little different at each school, but pretty much we adhere to using that universal screener as our first indicator. And then, like I said, anything else that we have in our toolkit, and there are different things at different levels, then we have the problem solving team model that we use to address when we see deficiencies in students' ability to read or do math. And then we'll make an intervention plan. Sometimes the intervention plan is as simple as making some changes in the classroom.
Right.
And then sometimes it's more detailed, having different things or push in or pull out services and anything that the child needs to try to find a way to help them get back on target.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. How has the infusion of technology into classrooms had an impact on your district?
Well, it's definitely, as I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
before, it has been made a big difference, a big change as far as what materials are used. Also, for interventions or for practices like Moby Max and different programs that are available online, we don't want to be too dependent on those. But on the flip side, we know it's in the world we're in, the digital world we're in,
Tool.
many times it's much easier than it was when I was in the classroom to get an idea of where your student is, because you have tools that will give you a nice report at the end of which standards your student is deficient in and those types of things. So I would say that digital, and technology has made a big impact and a big change. Also on testing, I am the assessment coordinator,
Yes.
and when we do
Wear many
testing,
hats.
yes, but the assessment, using online assessments in the regular classroom will be helpful when we're asked to do that in a summative way. So we have already been doing that, in some grades for many years. But I think our students are, as we well know, much more digital. That's their home language.
Right.
That's normal to them because they were raised immersed in that. So I think for them, the more we make it just seamless as part of our world,
Right.
and especially this year with the
Right.
COVID-19 unexpected school closure, we really found that we need to make sure that our students have the digital environment to work if we do go into school closure, because as we know, it may happen again.
Right. Exactly.
And so we are working we have always had lots, as you know, of equipment, and we're very blessed here with that. But now we're going to be more on a one-to-one type environment so that the student has that at home with them, because we do know we can't count on students having everything at home they need. And also teachers, we've found that we need not only equipment, some teachers didn't have a computer at home.
Right.
Internet access is always an issue. And then also just the training on a learning management system, and also on a program to use to help, with curricular needs. So this fall we'll be doing Schoology training for everyone, and you're part of that, I think, part of that team.
Yes.
And then also Schools PLP, since the state bought that as a digital platform or virtual school program, then we will want to have everybody understand how to use it, because even though it's really meant for our online learners,
Right.
if we go into a school closure, all of our students will be remote learners, and we would need to be able to have all the tools at our hand.
So that was the next question. Virtual, the PLP will be the program that we use for
our online students. It is Schools PLP, and we're not even, we've been using another program. Edgenuity is the program we had used in the past in 7 through 12. And now that we'll be doing Schools PLP, we have to get that training. But K6, we will have an Albertville City Schools teacher that will be that grade level teacher. So it won't be just Schools PLP K6. It will be a teacher because, as you know, again, trying to think of a student learning to read just through a program. I'm sorry, I just don't feel confident with that. Absolutely. So we will have a teacher assigned to the virtual students by grade level. They will do activities in K6. They will do activities mimicking more what the classroom looks like whole group, small group, phonics instruction in the lower grades, and but they will still have access and use of Schools PLP. And then in 7 through 12, it will be Schools PLP with a facilitator instead of an instructor.
Okay.
The facilitator will make sure that the students are making progress 7 through 12 in Schools PLP in the courses they're enrolled in. And we also have the option of access, which is a statewide program as well. So that will be optional for 7 through 12.
Wonderful. Well, you completely covered that question.
I think I might have gone too far.
No, you did great. Giving you an opportunity to express your opinions. What is the greatest difficulty of your position? No one's going to see this.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest is it's everybody's problem. I think from any perspective, I think that one of the biggest problems or challenges is that things are changing so rapidly.
Right.
And trying to meet the needs of our students whose, our demographics have changed more and more. We have more and more students who need a lot of support in language. We have a lot of EL students, as you well know, and that's a big area. So I think it's just the challenge for me is where to put all of our to spread our resources in the right direction.
Right.
And that's I think a big responsibility. Yes. Sometimes I think, wow, it's not just my decision. Of course, we do that in a team format, but still, that's a big responsibility.
It's a lot of pressure.
And just to, as I said, as things are changing, like with this new school year being such an unknown, preparing, like right now we have a plan that we're getting out to the families, and then families have to make that decision about online or virtual, online or traditional. And so I guess just change and rolling with it. And I'm pretty good at rolling with it, but this year's challenging that.
It's a lot more difficult this year. They're pushing you to your limit.
They're pushing me, and I'm usually pretty good at rolling with it.
Right. Last thing is factors that interfere with achieving goals and activities. You kind of covered that because of this year with virtual. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
I do want to say, just nobody will, it won't matter, but just like assessment, I think we have to really get annoyed at how much time we have to spend on assessment. I do understand the reason for assessment. We all understand that you have to know where your kids are, but I do think we do a really good job of knowing where our kids are without sometimes the summative assessments that require so much time. And I guess a frustration I have is that it seems as though those types of things a lot of times are too big or way too heavily
drive,
especially in like accountability, because I'm also accountability coordinator. Let's see,
pull that other hat.
But accountability, again, when you're held accountable and you're judged with a letter grade by your scores, which sometimes don't take into account a lot of factors that go, and again, we own it. We own our scores, and we're proud. Our scores have not been terrible or anything like that. And we've made some progress in that area, but it's sometimes to be compared, with apples to oranges, I guess is what I would want to say. And I know we're not the only system with that frustration, but we would like to find a way to level that playing field just a little bit and make the accountability piece more reflective of the whole child and the whole experience rather than just a test score, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I agree completely.
Okay.
Thank you so
You're
much.
very
And I
welcome.
appreciate you helping me
welcome.
today.